Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome to Mins on Mic. My name is Rudo. I am part of the Open Mic Foundation. I'm part of the team. And today I'll be your host. I know different face, but Seshni is not well today. So I will be taking the conversation today. I will be interviewing very, very interesting individuals, our artists and our poets who will be at the second Resurrection exhibition happening on the 3rd of September. If you haven't gotten your tickets, all our tickets are live on our website. So please go check that out. But without further ado, let me introduce the artists and the poets. All right. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to have you all on this live. And first and foremost, I think on behalf of Open Mic, thank you for being part of the second Resurrection exhibition. It has been quite a journey, and to have artists like yourselves and poets like yourselves, we are very, very grateful. I think I'll just go around the table first, and I'll start with Charnay. So, Charnay, please let us know your name, what you're about, and the art that you are interested in, the art that you do.
Hi, I'm Sharnay. I'm a pretty new artist, I would say. I started doing art when I was about 14. I'm really into more charcoal, but I try to get a sense of everything. So I love painting and I love sculpting. So a little bit of everything. But for the exhibition, I did a charcoal piece.
Wow, that is beautiful. All right, all right. So that's Charnay. Riba, I know you are a poet. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and poetry?
Hi everyone, my name is Reba and I started doing poetry at the end of matric and I used it as a way of knowing how to articulate my emotions. So in a way poetry made me understand myself in a way and it was a way of healing as well. And so it allowed me to be as I was becoming. So yeah, I generally just use words to comfort myself and as well as others. So yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Zebo, I know you are also one of our poets. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and also why do you love the art of poetry?
Hi guys. So basically, I'm Zebo. I grew up in Kagiso. Now I currently stay in Krugersdorp. So basically, I think for me, poetry's always been that thing that I confide to or turn to, regardless of the situation or the circumstance. I've always had the ability to write wherever I am. However, I think I don't want to like contemplate or postpone a certain thought. If it comes to mind, it has to go on the page, and then I give it some time to like turn into full fruition over time. So I think poetry has inspired like my whole childhood, like what I've experienced. So I've never been afraid to just allow myself to just speak and even write about it. So yeah, pretty much that's how I am, and that's what poetry means to me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Antonella, what art are you interested in? And please let us know who you are.
Hi guys, I'm Antonella, and I've been doing art. I don't know since when. Little girl, I've loved art forever. Um, it's a lot of people here. You say you do. You've got this love for poetry and art because it's expressed. Like you get to express yourself. For me, what draws me to art is it takes me away. So I'm actually, this is the first time I've actually done an art piece where I've had to put emotion into it. Where usually I'll get a piece to paint for someone and I'm flat. Like this was a big, what's the word, challenge, because art is somewhere where I can run away, and now I've had to face things. So it's been very different. But yeah, I love painting with acrylic. I don't like oil paint. I love charcoal, but I haven't mastered it yet. So yeah, that's me, and I
All
love
right.
creating. Yeah.
That is so great. We do have another artist, but I think he's having some technical issues. So when Dumisani is back in the room, we will give him a chance to let us know who he is and the art that he will be doing for the exhibition. So for everybody who just tuned in, we are speaking about the Resurrection exhibition. And if you don't know what the exhibition is about, it is about bringing stories to life. So all the artists are partnered up with a storyteller and they bring that story to life. All right, so I see Dumisani is back. Dumisani, can you please introduce yourself and let us know what art you are interested in or the art that you practice?
Hi. Most definitely, I'm very sorry for my really bad signal if you're gonna hear some static and stuff. But yeah, otherwise, a brief introduction to myself. My name is Dumisani Chere. I'm a visionary, and just to give you a more understanding of the basis why I used the word definition as my artistic A-list. I just actually kind of coined it as returning back to places of space and time, and I tried to convey that sense of nostalgia, sense of prehistoric and still elements of nuance and motifs within my work. So, in a nutshell, I am an illustrator by the degree, but all-rounder multidisciplinary artist. So I do paints, like I stated, I illustrate. Predominantly also with my actual program basis full time. I'm actually a digital artist. So like design principles, communication design is one of my major fortes. And yeah, I've been at it for over before even getting the qualifications to state that I am an artist. I've been like creatively inclined since the age of like what 3 before reading and writing. And yeah, so basically that is just me in a nutshell. Yeah, very passionate, very driven, and very humble individual, human before the artist's point of view.
Yes. One thing that I have heard all of you say is how much you connect to the art that you do. And I
And
think,
so basically, the second question is, let me just take a look at that as we go through. Um,
all right, all right. So I was saying that one thing that I heard all of you
so
say is that you all really connect to the art that you practice, and all of you have a sort of escape, but not only escape, but it really brings out your inner thoughts, your inner feelings, and that is really what is important for the exhibition. I want to hear Paul about the well, apart from hearing the storyteller that you're connected with, what theme are you focusing on your art piece, and how do you connect with it? So I'll start with Antonella. Can you tell us what theme your art piece really speaks about? Not necessarily telling us about the storyteller's story, but your side. How did you connect to it, and how did it bring out, the masterpiece that you have created?
Okay, so funny thing, the first time I met Anna Marie, the lady that I've done her experience or painted her story, the first time I met her, as she's busy reciting her story, tears were running, like my eyes were filling with it's my story. So there's so much that resonates that she had to talk, like what she went through is what I've gone through in the past. So it was sharing my own story. It was insane. So for me, it was a straight on connection. It was the weirdest thing ever. So I was basically painting my story, her story. It was just something that's what made it so challenging for me. My whole, I must say, the biggest thing I was trying to show is the balance of a trauma and the great that comes out of trauma through the painting. So it's very easy when you're painting something dark, it kind of captures you. For me, in any case, it brings more emotion into it, because anything heavy, it's like, I don't know, it just somehow it's easier for me to go through. But as I was painting, I didn't want to focus all on her, because it's a hectic story. You're going to hear it. It's hectic. And I didn't want this painting to be heavy. As much as it was a hectic thing she's been through, she's come out so strong and so inspirational. And the aspect in her life that helped her get through what she went through. I wanted to have a balance of those two things in the picture. So it was my whole theme I'm trying to bring through is where there is great sadness, there's great joy. Where there is so much darkness, there will be light. So it was a balance between one extreme and the other that I tried to capture, because I didn't want it to just be of her pain. So,
Sure. And what does that pain circulate around? What theme are we expecting to see your master print, your art bringing out?
you can't really, there's a lot of symbolic pieces that you've got to really listen to a story to kind of get a vibe of it. First off, when you look at it, it looks pretty sad. I could say that's a theme. I can't really pinpoint a theme to it. It shows hardship off the bat, and once you hear her story, it's very much rebirth almost.
Sure. And I hear you say that it's something that you have also been through. So was it kind of, would you say it was also like a re-healing? It's almost like you're painting yourself as well. Did you have to relive the emotions?
What was she gave me a book. She's also written a book about her this time in her life and what she went through. And reading that book was healing for me. And I still haven't. I got it to a point, and I'm like, I'm not reading anymore. I can't do this. So it definitely was healing, and it was also almost comforting to know that there's a lot. You always, when you go through something, it's always like, oh my gosh, my life's so hard. Put me, whatever. It was so
Yes.
nice. Well, it wasn't nice. Obviously, you don't want other people to go through any kind of trauma, but it was comforting to know that you're not alone. There's millions of people that go through trauma, and it was so amazing to meet her. She's amazing, and you wouldn't think in a million years that she had gone through. She's this bubbly, welcoming, enthusiastic. It doesn't make sense. So it was so cool to see someone go through such hectic experiences and to be so awesome. It was so cool. It kind of gives perspective on life in general. We can decide what we want out of an outcome. We could sit there and feel sorry for ourselves, or we can sit there and continue the cycle within our own children or within our own lives and new experiences, or we can cut them and become and reborn almost and take from it and learn. So yeah, definitely was a bit of healing. Forced healing, let's put it that way.
Good forced healing.
Yeah.
That
But
is
it was
powerful.
awesome.
That is powerful. All right. So what would be one thing that you say that you would want the person who looks at your art piece to understand?
One thing that I'd want them to understand is you're never alone. So
Yeah.
it's a very lonely picture, if I could put it there. But I'm not sure on the day of the exhibition if I can explain my piece, or if hoping that when Anna Marie talks that you can, the symbols come through to you. But when you're in your darkest moments, you're never alone. Never, ever, never, ever. Whether it's Jesus, honey, whether it's your higher power, whether it's whatever you're into, you really are never alone. And if you can focus on those things in
Yeah.
deep sadness, it's a game changer. Like if someone can just take that away from
Yes.
this,
Yes.
I've won. Yeah.
Sure. Wow, I really cannot wait to see the masterpiece that you have created, and I mean, reading your story and the storyteller that you know, Anna Marie's, it's I can't I can't wait to see it on, like, visually. I think we
Mm.
hear these stories so much, and we're all, you know, we throw around the words trauma and pain and wada, but to actually see it, feel it, and create it is something else. It is quite something else. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing that. For everybody watching this, and for even us, you know, who are here, you are never alone. And you guys, through art, you remind yourselves of that. But you're absolutely right. We are never alone, and we should always know that there is and will be somebody out there who's willing to listen and to give you the ear. So thank you so much for sharing that. Like,
Thank you.
that is beautiful. That is powerful. Thank you so much. All right, Charnay. I know you're new to art. I know that you're, you know, you didn't study art and all of that. But you know, with the art piece that you have created, what you know, how did you go into it, and how did you prepare for creating that story? Do you resonate with the story, or is it something that you had to research and understand for you to create the piece that you did?
So it's kind of the same as Antonella. Like when I was talking to my storyteller, her story is about grief, and I feel all of us have in some way experienced grief. But as she was telling her story, I realized this is my story as well. You know, it's like down to the detail. I went through this, and I feel that was what made it easier to immerse myself in this art piece. Um, and it was kind of shocking. It was like Antonella said, it was forced healing, you know, and her whole idea behind her story is just basically just, you know, you don't get a chance to go through this process. Some people take years to grieve, some people do it in a week, and it's
Mm,
different for everybody. And I realized through this whole art process that I haven't grieved. It's been like 6 years and I still haven't. So this was kind of that forcing myself into to grieving. So I did feel emotional while doing this art piece, and it was more than one reason. It's, you know, it's making not my only my story but her story, and you know, probably many other people's story into this art piece. But a part of you as an artist, I feel that I learned from doing someone else's, like, their story, having to listen and having their trust put into you to do an art piece. It's very nerve-wracking. So I did have a little bit of a moment like, is this good enough? You know, will this be
mm,
good enough? But I feel that's what this whole thing is. You know, we fall, we pick each other up again. We're there. We're there for each other. We're never alone, like Antonella said. And this whole art piece is just, it's amazing. Like the experience of getting to do this is amazing.
sure. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. So you said, so if I'm understanding correctly, the process of creating your masterpiece was difficult. Would you say, as an artist, it is always easier to create from, well, pieces from your understanding than somebody else's understanding?
Definitely. It's definitely having to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And people can find that difficult because you will never be 100% certain if this is what this person felt. You know,
Yeah.
you can only do a little bit from how they tell you, you know, from the story that they tell you and your own experience. And you
Mhm.
combine that to kind of put yourself in their shoes and feel what they felt. But it will never be 100% accurate.
I don't know if this is true, and I mean, all the artists can tell me if I'm wrong, but is it true that you always feel like, as much as you have created the art can never be 100% done? There's always
Yes,
something that you can do. Is that true?
yes, yes. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I hear the both of you, Shornay and Antonella, and sorry, I think Dumisani is having some technical issues, that you can start an art piece and you can resonate so much with it, and you can continue it and continue it. when do you know when to stop, especially with the pieces that you have created? And when do you know when to stop if you truly feel like an art piece is never complete?
I don't think you will ever stop. I look at some of my art pieces that I made 10 years ago, and I still look at it, and then all of a sudden I get this new feeling and this new thing that I want to add, and then I add it if I can. Then I will always want to add something. And that's the fun part about art. It's not a race to a finish. It's a race for a journey. You always have something to add. You always have something new to learn, something new to see. So I feel I will always look at this art piece that I made, and I will never be satisfied, but I will tell myself I did what I could. I knew I did what I could.
A
Sure.
deadline. A deadline is what
Deadline.
keeps painting, isn't it? You've got to give it to a client. It's over. It's out of my hand. Otherwise, you carry on. So that I agree with you totally. You're never really done until someone says, "Okay, I'm coming to finish my painting," and then you're like, "Okay, I got to let go now."
Yes.
Otherwise, I don't ever really. I agree.
Sure. All right. All right. Okay. And Shorne, I know that you said the overall theme of your artwork is grief. And when at the exhibition, for everybody who will be attending, what's one thing that you want them to take away from what you have created?
So the art piece that I worked on, what I'm trying to show people, it's like Antonella said, there's more layers into one art piece. There's always going to be different, symbols that you can find. And I realized this yesterday. Someone saw my art piece, and this was someone that understood art. And after I told him the story behind the art piece, that's when everything kind of clicked. So you can't show the art piece without the story, but it's really I I focused on how people don't get a chance to talk about their grief. So they get shut down. They get told, "Oh, you're not special." Everybody goes through that. So that's
Mm,
the story that I'm trying to convey with this art piece, is also the resurrection aspect into that. It's what what you went through and how you silenced yourself. But if you speak about it, you will get the closure that you want, that you need. So I did bring in the whole resurrection aspect into my art piece, and I hope people actually see that part. That's the most important part, is just the resurrection.
sure. So we have a comment here from Open Mic, and it says, "Through grief, you find your greatest insight of who you are." And do you and what? How do you feel about? Well, do you resonate with that? And I mean, that's to you, Sharnay. Did you find your greatest insights now that you have started your grieving journey?
I realized now, having started this like whole grieving journey, how much I have grown since the incident. How much a person can grow. Sometimes you're forced to grow,
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't regret it. I don't regret having not grieved for 6 years.
Mhm.
Because eventually I did get to this point, and it's never too late.
Yes. And there was definitely a reason why you blocked it out for so long, and only now you're probably seeing, oh, I blocked it out for so long because I couldn't deal with one, two, three. And if you hadn't blocked it out, you wouldn't have realized all of those other things.
Yeah.
So we have another comment that says grief leads us to understanding and acceptance, which is so true. It is very, very true. And I think, well, I read this other quote that says grief is just love with nowhere to go. And I lost my grandmother not so long ago, and I was like, that is so true. Grief is really love with nowhere to go. And I think with you, knowing that and feeling grief, you have put all that love that had nowhere to go on an art piece. And I think a lot of people will be able to see that, and they will be able to resonate with that, because it's unfortunate that grief is something that is a constant in life. it will happen, but it does not mean that that experience or that person has left us for life. Their memories and everything will always be with us. So for you having put that on art, I think it's so beautiful, especially for the storyteller, that they can live out their true story everywhere and everywhere they go, and proudly and happily. So that is that is powerful. Thank you so much. All right, Sibyl. Wait, so there's another comment. So it says one of the reasons this story had to be shared of the exhibition, as we have lost a lot of people during COVID. That is so true. That is very, very true. I think everybody in the room, we at least know one person that we have lost in during the period of COVID-19. So that is very, very true. Thank you for that comment. A lot of people will be able to resonate with that, especially during COVID. Sure. All right. All right, I'm going to move over to Zibo, but before I do so, I just want to hear from the artist. Were you able, did you have more conversations with your storyteller leading up to the creation of your art piece? All right, we just lost Jumisani again, but Shanae Antelela, how was the process with preparing for creating the art, apart from your inner self, but with the storyteller?
Okay, you first or me, honey?
You can go first.
Okay. She was very open. It was very easy to talk to her. She wasn't. I am not a very social person, if I could say that. With my people, I'm out there, but if there's people that I don't know, I find it hard to connect to them. And she was just such an easygoing. She just like regurgitated everything. I mean, she was just stuck. It was just so easy with her, and her having a book made it so much easier. I didn't have to really like keep in contact too much with her because I had it all down in paper in front of me.
Sure.
But she was amazing, checking in. How are you doing? Are you okay? How far are we? I mean, she wants it to be a surprise, so she has no idea what's happening. She's actually not listening to us in case she gets a hint of what's going on. But she was really cool. Like I thought it would be more of a challenge to connect to someone, but obviously the experience being very similar to mine, it made it easier. But as a whole, even if I hadn't had that as a background, she was really a dream to deal with. I thought it was going to be a hell of, but it was cool. She was awesome. I found it very easy.
That's great. That's great. And Charnay?
It's the same. I feel because our stories are so similar, we just connected instantly on our first meeting, and it was just I was scared she was gonna think, because I'm so young, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm very childish. And then I realized, no, she's such a fun person. She's so easy to talk to. We like the same things. It was really fun, and she also kept in touch afterwards. I think we had like 2 video calls where I was just first she told me her story, and then the second video call I gave her my ideas, and then we both decided what the final piece would be. And so she was very much a part of the whole process. I sent her updates like, okay, this is how it's looking right now, and yeah, so I kept her in the loop. Yeah.
That is great. Sure. All right. Well, I genuinely cannot wait to see both masterpieces and the both of you and your storytellers. So let me hear a little bit what the poets have to say, and I'll just jump straight to Zibo. Zibo, I know this is your second resurrection. You were our first ever poet at our very first exhibition. And I know at the first exhibition, you were really focusing on poetry about the self. Is
Yeah.
this time around different? And what themes will you be covering on the poems that you're going to be reciting?
I think because probably like the first time I was like just addressing the whole like in terms of women's rights and abuse and all that collectively. But this time I've decided to just really focus on self-love and base it all off the experiences that I've gone through throughout these past 2 years. So yeah, pretty much that.
All right.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be speaking about self-love,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, that you had to go through a couple of experiences in these 2 years, right?
Yeah.
That taught you more about self-love. Can you share a little bit, if you're willing to, about all of these little bit of experiences leading you up to this point?
I think majority of the time it was like, I guess I would say like with my mom, when you've kind of like lost someone that means the world to you, and you're kind of like trying to navigate your whole life because you've, as a person, I think I love a lot, but then I forget to value myself in the process.
Mm,
So sometimes it becomes really confusing because does it turn you into like a selfish person or, that type of thing. So I guess based off whatever happened like to my mom and me digging deep within myself to be like, okay, cool, regardless of the situation and the circumstances, let's just tap in. And as Rudo knows me, like I just never stop writing. Like as soon as I'm in, like I'm super, super focused. Right now I've just been lagging there and there because my inspiration has just been dull for like a month. But other than that, yeah, I would say self-love has been the biggest impact because you also have to, while still learning to love other people, you need to remind yourself of your own value. So yeah.
sure. And I think, again, with all the topics that we've heard so far, self-love has to be one of the most important,
Yeah.
because without self-love you can be stirred into directions or stirred away from a direction that is meant for you. And even though you're feeling a little bit low right now, and inspiration is low, at least you have the principles or the foundation of how to love you a little
True.
bit more.
Yeah.
And I think coming into the exhibition and reminding everybody of that is going to be so powerful, because you have themes like grief and trauma and pain. And throughout all of those lessons, there needs to be self love. And we need to remind ourselves that we're human. Yes, we can go through grief, and yes, we can go through trauma, but you need to love you a little bit more in order for you to be able to experience everything that you have. So that is powerful. That is powerful. And what are you looking forward to with this exhibition? I know, because you were the only poet last time.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to?
I think in terms of like collaboration, like I'm really excited to do it with uh yeah, with River. Like it's just that thing where, because I met her like, yeah, like it's been about a year, 2 years ago. So it's nice to kind of get her also, her point of view of how she feels, how she writes, and we can kind of connect or bring that together. And I've read her stuff. I've enjoyed it. So it's really nice to kind of get a female's perspective, physically, than just, reading a book. So yeah,
Wow. That
yeah,
is so exciting. I have read both yours and Riba's work. And one thing that I can say you both have in common is being really, really raw with what you write. Very, very, it's almost like when I read your poetry, it's almost like the atmosphere changes, because what you write is so raw. It's so, I don't want to use the word brutal, but it's crisp. It's like, sure, you enter that zone while you're reading all of those words, and then you're like, whew, all right, that is how Tibble felt. That is how River felt. It's
yeah,
it's beautiful. It's real. It's authentic, and I can't wait for everybody to hear the poetry that you're going to be bringing to the exhibition. So that is really, really great. All right, and I'm for a lot of you who don't know, Tibo and I went to high school together, and I'm not too sure when he actually started poetry. But are you, Zibo, are you, when did you actually start poetry? And do you have any other arts that you do that are linked to poetry or are not linked to poetry?
So I started poetry when I was like in grade 10 because I felt like that was a point of like finding myself. Not yet like fulfilling myself yet, but I felt like at that point I was like, okay, some things I accept about myself, so I'm not really gonna like beat around the bush or, like feel like, okay, if these other kids are doing it at school or trying to be a cool kid, like I just wanted to be myself from grade 10 moving forward. I didn't care anymore. That weight of whether it was self-image or popularity or whatever, it didn't weigh on me anymore. I was just like, I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, from grade 10. Other than poetry itself, I dance, I draw, I cook. So it's just I enjoy being versatile because it keeps me afloat. Like I'm always ready to learn something new as I go along because it doesn't keep me boxed or to feel like, okay, cool, I can only do two things so yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I am so excited. I can't wait to listen to all of the poems that you have. And listen, guys, our resurrection will be happening. So I really hope there will be a collaboration between you and River soon. And
Yeah.
Open Mic is really, really looking forward to that. So, River, let me hear a little bit more about your poetry journey and what you're looking forward to and what the poems are about that you have in store for us.
All right. Taking into consideration the theme of the event, the resurrection, I allowed myself to be very, very vulnerable in the writing process of my poem. And I started thinking of the many things that had happened in my life that led to me being in a very, very dark hole. You know, I mean, a lot of people could relate with being in a very extremely depressed state. And I remember that state, and I remember how there was this period in time where I felt like this is not who I want to be. This is not how I want to feel. I am tired, you know? And I guess that was the resurrection where I sought healing. I wanted to feel alive and be present. I got tired of feeling dead on the inside. And my poem is not necessarily looking into depression or all of that, but the beauty of healing, the beauty of growth, the beauty of acknowledging that, okay, this has happened, but how do we go about changing it? You know? I mean, I remember in that depressive state, I remember hearing a quote by Lauryn Hill, and she said, how are you going to win when you're not right within? And
Sure.
from that moment, I just saw that it was my calling to really get up and dust myself off and see how I'll be able to heal myself, you know? And it was a very beautiful journey, to be honest. It was very beautiful, and I am looking forward to sharing um, my poetry with you guys. So yeah.
Sure. All right. So I don't want to go too personal, and you answer as you please, right? The You say poetry kind of led you to starting your healing journey and kind of opening up and feeling what you're feeling within. But how did you get to the point where you knew that it had to be on pen and paper? Because some people run to therapy, some people run to their best friends, their mom, or they just scream. Or how did you know that this was healing when you write it down on pen and paper?
My connection is pretty bad, so would you mind write the question down?
No worries at all. No worries at all. Give me 1 second.
How did you realize that it was healing? So the nice thing about poetry is how it allows you to, it forces you actually, it forces you to feel and be in tune with your emotions, and it allows you to see so many things that, I mean, I feel like writing something down makes it very prevalent. Like you get to actually know that actually this is happening. So as I was writing, I knew that it was healing because it's more of an acceptance kind of thing. I accepted that okay, this is what's happening, and how do we go about to change it? You know, I don't know if I'm exactly answering the question, but releasing is a form of poetry. Like writing helps you release, and in releasing you heal eventually.
Yeah. And this will be the very first time that you are at the open mic exhibition. What are you looking forward to, and um, how are you prepping yourself for that?
What am I looking forward to?
Yes, like what are you looking forward to, and how did you, and why did you really accept to be part of the resurrection? Was it more of healing? Was it more of an experience, or did you actually connect to the meaning of the resurrection experience?
Um, Generally, I am looking forward to sharing my poetry and hoping that someone can relate in some way. And I didn't hear the last question.
Oh, I said how you know I basically want to understand that joy, coming on the platform of the resurrection exhibition and reciting your poem there, how do you connect to the meaning of the resurrection exhibition?
I'm sorry, but my network is really, really bad.
All right. All right, no worries. The good thing is that everybody will be able to have a moment with you to connect with you at the actual event. Again, just for everybody who just tuned in, we are speaking about the Resurrection exhibition that is happening on the 3rd of September. It's all about bringing stories to life, and we will have two poets and three artists and three storytellers. So unfortunately, Dumi Sunny's internet connection failed, and he will not be able to be on the line today. However, Dumi Sunny will be sharing a story about uh, pain as well, about realizing your greater self, going within yourself, and it's going to be really, really wonderful. He is an illustrator, digital illustrator, so you can look forward to seeing the amazing work that he has in store for us. All right, so artists, any last words, any comments, poets, anything that you have to say, and anything that you're looking forward to?
Can I go?
Yes, please, please.
I can't wait for someone else to feel what I felt doing this painting because I don't feel when I paint. So for me, I can't wait for even you. I can't wait for you to see it and be like,
Can't
okay,
wait.
I feel it. That's my main, like, it's such a huge thing to see. You know, when someone comes to you and gives you a piece of art to paint, usually it's they've got an example and they want this to be painted. There's no
Yes,
connection. So it's very easy for me, do my thing and off it goes. So it's the first time
yeah.
where I actually have a feeling towards a painting. It's so easy to let go of art for me. With this might actually be a bit difficult because it's
Mm,
so much
it's
more than just paint and paper. And I don't know, it's just huge. And I cannot wait for other people to hopefully feel what I felt when I was doing this because it's so different for me to feel from a painting. It's a bit, it sounds
true.
even like hippie, but yeah, I can't wait for someone else to kind of engage in that feeling that I have. That's like a big thing for me. I hope I get it. I hope I can portray what I felt. Yeah.
I can't wait as well.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited. I'm very excited. All
Mm.
right. I think yeah, like I did say to Chardonnay, I think there's a difference between when you hear the story and when you see the story without words.
Mm.
Because everybody will be looking at it from their perspective, but also they will feel the emotions through it. And now because it's so sentimental and these it's not just a painting, like you said, there's feelings, there's emotions, there's truth that lies within the paint, even the colors that you use, even the technique that you used. It's it's art. And I feel like we're all art in our different ways. We all have a different book and a different chapter and, different characters. So that is, I'm really, really excited. I'm very, very excited to see it. Thank you. And Antonella, thank you so much for being part of the exhibition. We hope there'll be many, many collaborations um, moving forward with the years to come.
100%. I loved every second of this. It was the
Uh,
first time I could, because a lot of people, you think, I don't know if you other artists feel that way, that you think that you actually don't have a place as an artist. I don't know. It sounds dramatic, but it's almost it's fickle. You know, oh, I
sure.
like this butterfly and I like this whatever. You paint it and it goes onto a wall and it's like, oh, look at my art piece. You know. So for me, this was so huge because it was more than just um, a pretentious thing on someone's wall. If I could even say it, it sounds a bit.
Yeah,
But for me, it's. I would love to continue doing this forever because it's given me a more of a meaning to a talent that I have, or more of a meaning to something that I love to do. It's made it more for me than just making
sure.
someone else's home look pretty. You know. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Mm.
we have a question from Ace to all the artists. Just she says, just a quick question. How do you find inspiration when faced with a creative block? And also, how do you deal with imposter syndrome when around another artist? Ooh, this is very wow. This is very nice. All right, artists, and that includes poets as well. Um, Please, how do you deal with the creative block?
I'll go.
Yeah.
So something that I like to do is draw everything that you can. Like even if it's you're sitting at the dining table and there's a coffee mug in front of you, you keep drawing. And so whenever I get in an artist block, I just draw what I see. You know, it doesn't have to be spectacular. It doesn't have to be this masterpiece. It's just my daily life. It's just to keep in touch with seeing that I can turn anything that I want into something spectacular. You know, I can just practice my art, and eventually along the way you will get this little light bulb, like in the cartoon, just pop in your head and like, oh, I can do this. You know, and another fun exercise I like to do is making everyday objects into lifelike, like little cartoon versions of themselves, or just go outside and draw what you see. Just enjoy yourself, you know.
Mhm. Oh wow. Okay.
What I do is I don't really, because I'm a mom of two and I have another job, and I don't really sit and just draw. I usually just when painting comes through, it's when I've got a commission piece that I need to make. So the inspiration, being creative part, I don't really get a lot of. But I used to do exhibitions at Alice Art Gallery, and I had to make my own. And I found as well, I would walk outside, or I'd go to botanical gardens, and I would take photos of everything that stood out for me. Or I'd go to anywhere in every a shopping mall. If I saw a beautiful couple, if I saw whatever it stood out for me, I would take photos of and then go home and kind of translate it into my art. That's what. And the imposter syndrome thing, I could have to talk about that. I think it comes with age because I don't
Oh.
care. Your art is beautiful. My art is beautiful. I actually, my mom is an artist and she is amazing, but totally different to me. So I look at her art and I'm like, oh my god, wish I could do what she does. And she looks at mine and she's like, oh my god, I wish I could do. It's like people that have curly hair want straight hair. People that are fat want to be thin. People that are short want to be tall. It's just the way it is. You're never going to be someone else's. You're not going to be on the same level as some other artist. And what's made me realize this with age is it doesn't matter because it's all exceptional for what it is. So I don't have any I don't see someone else better than me in art. I love their art and I can appreciate their art, and but I don't see them. I don't belittle myself because I praise them. We're on the same kind of creative, you know. So yeah, that's me.
So you got me really excited, right? So would you then say, with regarding the imposter syndrome, that it's more believing in your art that makes it good enough?
100%, 100%, and I found that that came with age, or maybe
Mm.
experience and other things in life that then's kind of shown me that if I can not even like subconsciously, if you have little wins in life in other experiences, it kind of domino effects in every other aspect in your life. So if you become confident in one area, it kind of gives you that push in other areas, and maybe that's what's brought me to this point, not necessarily age, but more life that's made me realize that yeah, that you can do this and no one can
Sure.
actually take it away from you. You can tell me that, I teach art to kids, and there's one little girl that's just exceptional and she doesn't see it.
Oh.
She doesn't see it, and I look at her and I'm like, my God, if only you could see it. And everyone else praises her, and she will not see it until she goes through whatever she's got to go through. And I mean, she's in grade 2 and already,
Oh.
yeah, it's insane. But yeah, um it is all to do with self-love, exactly like the poet said. Like everything boils down to that. Absolutely everything. If that's
Sure.
off, everything's off.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And if and Seshni once told us, and I know you all know Seshni, when you're not aligned, things don't kind of go right. If you're not aligned in here, then that's when you'll start doing like imposter syndrome, and you're like, oh, I can't think, and I you start doing this and this, and even your paint that you're supposed to use is not that paint, and you leave the paint that you're actually supposed to use. So again, when it's not aligned in here, it's difficult to do it. And I just saw a comment from Open Mic, and it says they always go and look within. You go and look within, and you always, it says, I always look at being more mindful in the process. Absolutely. That is so true. And actually asking yourself, why am I doing this? What is the intention? What is the purpose? Because, sometimes we do things, for other people, and we forget that it's so important, since you're the artist and you're the one who's going to be executing it, and you're the one who's going to be building this thing. You need to find some purpose within doing that whole process. Because otherwise, if you don't, it's not going to be received the correct way. We're going to be able to see that, maybe you didn't do it with as much intention or as much purpose or as much understanding. Shania, I saw you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something I always tell myself. It was a quote I read somewhere. And whenever I feel down and I feel my art isn't good enough, I always tell myself, art was not made to be pretty. It was made to be felt.
Sure.
And sometimes you look at someone's art and it's not connecting with you because that's not, you didn't go through that. You can connect with every single piece of art, and
Yeah.
it will never be like that. I remember I went to a museum and I just saw a painting of a bear like fighting a dog, and I cried for 10 minutes. It's you get that moment, that sheer moment of you connect to the art, and that's also my hope for this exhibition, is just I hope people can connect to the art
Yeah.
pieces, and to the poems.
Yes. And okay, and poets, I know this is very different because your way of art and your way of expression is very different. So a lot of, I mean, with Sibo, Riva, and I myself, a lot of the things that we do in our type of art is pen and paper. Everything kind of goes down on pen and paper. So is it the same with how you can go outside and kind of drain everything in your mind to be able to write? Or what do you do when you have a creative block?
I mean, I think for myself, like you gotta, well, this is on my side, but like I swim in the music that I listen to always. Like that's my I feel like that's my comfort zone where I'm at a point where if I'm stuck or have a mental block, that's where I turn to because that turns into inspiration. And then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Not that I'm using someone else's idea from that specific lyric, but it's a jump start to be like, okay, cool. Like I can feel the beat, but now what is the emotion that comes with it? What am I actually going through right
Mm.
now? And then I just tap into it straight away up until. So pretty much, yeah.
All right. All right, that's great. Well, Riva's also having some technical issues, but Ace, thank you so much for that question. I think everybody who loves art and who is a creative, remember, everybody's creative. So you can have a mental block in everything. I've had a mental block with a podcast. So thank you so much, Ace, for that question. I think a lot of people will resonate to all the answers that have just came out. All right, guys. So we have a couple of minutes. Any last words? I know Antonella shared with us, Charnay shared with us. So Tsibo, do you have any last words? And yeah, let us know.
I think come buy tickets and come see us.
Yes, guys, please come buy the tickets. There is a link in the comment section, so please check that out. If you don't know where to buy the tickets, simply just go on openmicfoundation.org and then go under events, and everything is listed down there: the location, the time, and where you can get the tickets. All right, it's going to be great, and I really, really hope that everybody who is watching this is inspired and is excited to see the pieces of art that our artists have brought to life, the stories that they have brought to life. And we cannot wait. It's in 2 weeks. So grab your tickets. But apart from that, guys, for everybody who's on this live, and Antonella, Sharnay, Riba, also Dumisan, who's unfortunately off, you guys are really, really amazing. Continue the creativity, continue exploring and creating these beautiful pieces beyond the exhibition. And we really hope that you become that this is not the last one. Just like Zibo, this is his second one. That you guys will be, attending the next ones to come. So thank you so much, guys. For more information, go on our social media platforms. Everything is still there. Everything is there. And if you would like to engage with one of the individuals on the, the artists or the poets, all their details will be with us, open mic, or you can check out their social media platform on our social media platforms. All right, guys, thank you so much. And we hope to see you soon, 2 weeks, when we'll be in person. All
Bye.
right.